is a very effective organization. That's a defensive transatlantic alliance. I think that it is criminal what NATO is doing in terms of providing Ukraine with this advanced weaponry. And that's not because I don't believe Ukraine should be denied the opportunity of self-defense. But NATO started this fight. It was NATO expansion that is the reason why Ukraine is in this position. And it's hypocrisy of the highest order to start a fight and then, knowing that Ukraine cannot beat Russia, to continue to give Ukraine false hope by providing heavy weaponry, which only in the long run results in tens of thousands of more dead Ukrainian soldiers and thousands of dead Russians. The NATO position, the German position, the American position isn't premised on the notion that Ukraine is going to defeat Russia. If it was, then give Ukraine all the weapons you can. If you believe Ukraine can win this war, honestly believe it, then give Ukraine everything it would need to prevail. But nobody believes Ukraine is going to win this war. The best anybody can hope for is a stalemate, which means that you are condemning tens of thousands of men to death for a fight that you started, but you're not willing to see through. And that you being NATO, the United States, Germany. Is there a risk of Germany being drawn into this conflict? With all due respect to the Germans, no, because they have no capability. The German army is a joke. They could barely scrape together enough troops to provide a reinforced battalion for deployment as part of the NATO battle group in Lithuania. Now NATO is talking about maybe expanding that force to a brigade size. Germany is struggling to figure out how they're going to do that. For Germany to get involved in a meaningful fashion in Ukraine, meaning the deployment of troops, is beyond the capacity of the German military. They simply cannot do it. Moreover, at some point, Germany is going to exhaust its ability to supply Ukraine with equipment and materiel. Germany is already degrading its already degraded military capability by transferring equipment to Ukraine. This is not an infinite stockpile. It is finite, and Germany has already reached the limits. And the last thing is, this conflict isn't just about military confrontation. This is a geopolitical conflict that has a significant political and economic aspect to it. If I were a German, I wouldn't be talking about what's going on in the battlefield in Ukraine. I would be talking about what's going to happen come winter. Am I going to have a job? Is the factory I work in going to be able to work, function? Am I going to be able to feed my family? Am I going to be able to heat my home? And if I were a German politician, instead of worrying about whether or not the Ukrainian army can succeed against Russia, I would be worrying about my own political survival. At a minimum, if I were a German politician, I would have to ask, could I withstand a vote of no confidence among my constituents? And at a maximum, I'd have to ask, can I survive the revolution that may occur because the people have lost trust and confidence in their government? They're hungry, they're cold, and they're angry. This is what I would be worried about if I were German, not about what's going on in Ukraine. Russia is going to win this conflict. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be tragic. It's going to be horrible for all people involved, especially the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian civilians, and the men who serve in their military. Russia is going to win. The question Germany should be asking is, can Germany survive? And that's a legitimate question.